What's shaking, my friends? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Shay, and today is the start of Face-Off weekend. If you don't know what that is a 48-hour challenge in the amazing Readathon hosted over there by Bree at 4 Paws in a Book. For the whole month of June, we are having a blast of a time. I didn't participate last year. I'm participating this year and just having a blast. I will say that I got behind this week. I am not caught up where I need to be. I am not in the city that I need to be. And this week I have not even been able to participate in the detours to help my team out. So I'm feeling a little saddened that I haven't been able to help my team out. But for 48 hours, it started at noon today. It's now but it's almost like 10 o'clock. It's 10:30. I don't know, at night. I don't know. But I got off work late and I'm just now starting this. But I'm going to do this thing. Face-Off weekend is all about reading the most that you can. The only caveat is you have to read something that's at least 50 pages. So we are reading books to get 1 point per book. And then the more books we read, the more things that we kind of gather, the more points that we get. So I am super stoked. Now, if you don't know me, I'm not a big fan of the novella. But I'm willing to take a weekend for the team. So who am I if I don't have a jar? So I've got this jar of picks. These are novellas from all kinds of walks of genres. I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of short stories in here, but I tried to make sure all of them were over 50 pages. There's a lot of Amazon originals in here. They have their original series. Hate on the Zon all you want to, but these authors still need love, and so I have a lot of short stories in here. And I have never, I don't think, read a lot of short stories. I've read some short stories as part of anthologies that I didn't really care for, but it's time to kind of see if they're my jam. So I'm going to read as many short stories as I can, and we're going to start right now. Here we go. So I didn't even fold up the papers. I'm not even going to look, though. I don't know what I'm getting. There's so many pieces of paper, but this is the one. This is the paper. What is this? Gentle is the angel to death. So this I know is an Amazon short story. I can't remember who this is by. Dean Koontz, maybe? I don't know. I've never read a Dean Koontz novel in my life, if this is who this is by. But I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it and then I'll pop back in with my thoughts when I get done. Okay, so I tried to stay up last night to read this and it didn't work out because my eyes quickly just shut on me. So it's Saturday morning and I have finished Gentle is the Angel of Death. So this is actually part of an Amazon original series. There was a season 1 of this series and there was a season 2 of the series. This is by Dean Koontz. So the one I read is season 2, episode 2. I understood the story quite well. I don't think that I had to have read these in order for everything to make sense. But because this is so short, anything I say in detail will be a spoiler. So I'm going to tell you that this is kind of like Dexter. We're following a man who does these revenge killings, and in this particular one, he is out to get a man who basically does mercy killings on disability people. It was a very, very interesting conversation about disabilities and do disabilities define a person. I really enjoyed it. I overall would give this 4 stars. This is the first Dean Koontz thing I have ever read. It's very, very short. It is 66 pages, but I submitted it for Face-Off weekend. Again, it only has to be 50 pages, so I can read as many short stories as I want, which is fantastic for me because that's how I'm going to be able to get my team at some points. So now it's time to draw again, and we'll see what I get. I do have some more books in that series in here, so who's to say? Maybe I'll get one, but we will get this one. So this is Oak Avenue. So this is another Amazon original story. I think this is a spooky story. I'm not quite sure on who the author of this one is, but I will check in when I get more into it. I definitely am finding that the short story is working for me more than the novella. At least in the last one I read. I really enjoyed my time and I enjoyed the conversation in the story. So we'll see what I think about Oak Avenue and I'm gonna get reading. Okay, so I read Oak Avenue. It's by Read. So this is another Amazon original, kind of short story. So this is about a haunted house. So we're following a woman and her husband who moved back to his hometown. He's always dreamed of living in this house. It's right next door, I believe, to his mom's house, and it's this very, very old house that has a lot of charm to it, but has a lot of work to be done to it. And the woman used to be a kind of a restoration person for houses, so that is the love, and she has envisioned herself kind of remodeling this old style house into something she wants it to be. And they have a little daughter that she right now is staying home to take care of, and her husband is working in New York, going back and forth to, I believe, New York. And the something happens. As they're getting some trees kind of cut down, an old door is found in the ground. And of course, the woman is like, she wants all of the old things in the house that belong in the house. So she takes this door and she plans on refinishing it and putting it back in the house, and some things happen. Now I will tell you that the ending of this story was really crap. This short story was like 70 something pages. I hated the ending, but I did really enjoy the actual leading up to the ending. I do think that this is not a story that has never been done before, but I listened to this one on audio. There's a portion of the book that actually sent chills down my spine, the way the audiobook narrator narrated that portion of it. So I've never read anything by Brandy Reed before. Don't know if this necessarily will make me read anything by her, but I didn't like the ending. I went up giving this one 3 stars. Overall, it was fine. So that is 2 short stories submitted to Faceoff weekend, and so I'm hoping to continue this streak. And here we go. We're gonna pick number 3. Here it is. This is another short story. This is Memories of Tomorrow. I promise there are novellas in here as well, but this is Memories of Tomorrow. This is another Amazon original story, and I have no idea who this one is by, but I will check back in when I get finished. It's me popping back in to say I'm not going to read this one. The reason why is this is another nameless story, and at the time that I put these in the jar, I did not realize that this was part of an ongoing kind of series, and I feel like it's going to be detrimental to continue to read these out of order, because I read the synopsis of this and it sounds like a progression, like this is the finale of season 1. Earlier in this video I read like the second one of season 2, but I think it's going to be detrimental to continue to read these out of order, so means I'm going to pick another book. Okay. This is the one. Oh, see, I told you there was some novellas in here, and this is What Moves the Dead. So that's great. That's T. Kingfisher. And so I'm going to go read this, some more horror. Yes, we love it. And I'll pop back in when I'm done. Excuse the way I look. But I'm now done with What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This is a Fall of the House of Usher retelling, and it follows a woman who has been summoned to the Usher house because she gets a letter from the lady of House Usher saying that she's not doing well, and she requests her to visit. So they have been long childhood friends, but they haven't seen each other in a long time. So she shows up at this house and realizes that her friend and her husband are not doing well at all. Her friend specifically is just on death's doorstep, and we're trying to figure out what exactly is going on. There is a doctor there and he doesn't know what's going on, and we are telling this very unique story of this house and what is going on to this woman, and that's all really that I can tell you. The book itself is like 160 pages. I don't know. It was a short novella. I gave it 3 stars. I feel like sometimes in mystery horror kind of stories, the ending always doesn't work for me. And I guess this one just didn't surprise me. I feel like I knew what was going on the entire time, but I loved the writing, and there was nothing wrong with the way the story was told, but it just wasn't the best for me. But we all know that I don't really get along with novellas. Now we're gonna choose number 4. So that's short thing number 3, and now we're gonna be on 4. I don't know how many things I'm gonna get read today. Here it is. This is gonna be In the Heart of Fire. So I don't know what this is. I'm gonna have to go research what exactly this is, and I will come back and tell you my thoughts when I finish this. Alright, so I finished In the Heart of the Fire, and this is another Dean Koontz short. The reason why I read this one and didn't read the last one I pulled is because this one turned out to be the actual first in the series. So I was like, okay, let me read it. Basically, this series follows this man, and 2 years ago he woke up. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know who he is before this, but obviously there's somebody giving him orders to kind of have these vigilante killings, kind of like Dexter, where he is going and killing people that are doing bad things. And so that's very interesting. Also, there's some supernatural elements in the fact that he has these visions and that kind of tell him things. So it's very interesting, but this again is just a story where, you know, we followed a different case of this serial killer, which he dispersed of. So I gave it 3 stars just because, you know, it seems like there's not going to be much change in what's going on with any of these books in the story, so it can kind of get a little bit repetitive. So I am headed out to go eat dinner and go to a concert with my husband, but I'm going to pick another book for when I get home that I will start reading. Hopefully it's not something crazy. Okay, this is Let Her Be, which I think is another Amazon original story. I have like however many years of stories that Amazon has been doing this in this cup. So Let Her Be, I'll figure out what that is and I'll check back in when I get done. Okay, it is Sunday morning. We went to dinner and a concert last night, and now it is Sunday. So I finished Let Her Be by Lisa Unger. This is another Amazon original short, and Triggers for Suicide, but it's about a man who has tried to commit suicide, had developed this very obsession stalkerish thing with his ex-girlfriend, and we know that he got violent with her and they were in love, and then she basically called the cops on him, and because he abused her, and then he tries to commit suicide because he just can't live without her. And so that's where the story starts, and I don't want to tell you too much because again, this is a short story, but it starts with him telling you how he committed suicide over this, and he then goes on this journey to find his ex-girlfriend, and there are other characters in the picture. I really actually liked this one, even though it was a really ambiguous, you don't know, up to interpretation, the ending. So I really honestly did like this. So I have about 4 hours to read some more for Faceoff weekend, so that's number 5 thing. I didn't get a lot read for Faceoff like I wanted to, but I'm going to pick another one and we'll see what we get. I have never read anything by Lisa Unger. I hear a lot of mixed reviews about her books, but now I'm very intrigued to kind of figure out what this is. Okay, so this is a sci-fi novella, so this is Finna. So I don't know what this is particularly about, but again, I'll pop back in when I finish it. Okay, so I finished Finna, and this reminded me so much of Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, and I don't know if it's because they both take place in IKEA-like stores and there's something going on in these IKEA-like stores, but it reminded me of that. And I have to say that I thought this one was okay. It follows a couple who has recently broken up. They both work at the store, and so they both, you know, are working together on this particular day where this girl comes up and says, hey, my grandma went missing, and so they are tasked to go find grandma, and then they realize that there's multiverses into other worlds in the store, and so they are on the task to go and find grandma. So it's a queer story that has an interesting take on capitalism. Overall, I thought I gave it 3 stars. Like, it was fun, but there was nothing to me that really pulled me into the story, and so I have time to read one more thing. Okay, so I have to just keep picking until I get something that fits into this time limit. Right now I have to be done by noon. That's when Faceoff ends, and it's currently 10:30. So let's get something that's short. All right. Okay, it is time to pick a book. This one. So this is Little Slaughterhouse on the Prairie. So let's see what that is. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanted a romance, but this is actually part of Amazon original nonfiction things. So that's interesting. So I'll learn something while I am listening to this. So I'll check back in. Okay, so I finished Little Slaughterhouse on the Prairie by Harold Schechter, and it gets its name because Laura Ingalls Wilder, who wrote the Little House on the Prairie books, she actually came out and said that her family had some dealings with these murderous serial killer people on their journey, and so hence the title The Little Slaughterhouse on the Prairie. But this happened in the 1800s, where in this town, like, multiple people would go missing, and they found that this family had done these horrendous crimes, and it's just basically they murdered people in some very gruesome ways, and then they finally got figured out. But then it's a mystery as to whether they actually got caught or not. There's lots of different people claiming that they caught the family and killed them, so lots of different, nobody ever knows what really happened to the family. But overall, I really liked it. I liked hearing about this time in history, and you think that between now and how we treat serial killers versus like in the 1800s, how serial killers were treated, there's a lot of similarities based off that. I really enjoyed this. When you opened up the little book, it had like some movies, like a movie montage of like photos and everything from the different crime scenes from the 1800s, and I really enjoyed that, and I'm overall going to give it 4 stars. I liked it. So that ends Face-Off weekend. I didn't get as much as I wanted to read, but I read some very interesting things. I want to read the rest of the stuff in this jar. I really do. I'm gonna keep the jar, and maybe one day when I'm feeling like need something short, I'll pull out of it. But that's gonna be it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.